Hi, Karen. It's been a minute since I did a real live, so I've gotten a little bit comfortable and complacent doing the tutorials that I can erase if they're not good enough. Hey, Shelly. We'll let a few more people. This is kind of an odd time to do it, but I was home, and like I said, I've gotten a little bit complacent. You know how much I love this camera. So I decided it was time to push myself out of my comfort zone a little bit. So here we go. How are you guys today? And can you guys hear me okay? Oh, thank you, Shelly. I have a ton of natural curl, so sometimes it's really nice and easy to be able to do it curly and save some time. So we kind of went through this a little bit in our Zoom, but I had promised a couple that weren't able or aren't comfortable doing the Zoom yet that I would go over it and tape it, so I figured since I had to tape it anyway, I might as well do it live. We'll give it a few more minutes and then get going so that you can see the different platforms. So I did want to show you guys some ideas that you can do differently. Some of the ones that I've done through the years, so that you can see all the different things you can do with them. All right, we won't spend too much time waiting because it is kind of an odd time of day and people can always catch the rewind later. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. So you please just let me know that you can still hear me okay once I get the screen sharing going. So I'm going to start with Silhouette Studio. This is going to look a little odd because if you look at my, if you look in the background at where my page setting is, obviously the sign is much bigger. That doesn't matter. So just ignore that. Some people that's really going to trip up, but I don't want it to trip you up. For our purposes, we're going to open all of the files so that they're automatically the same size. Now, you do have an option if you have Photoshop or Affinity, then those files will actually be included so that when you open the file, it is automatically all layered for you, and then you can change the colors to whatever you want. As we talked about in our Zoom, one of the things that I have found is that trying to do yard signs or some of these things that people really like to customize, in order to get all the colors that you could use in your surrounding areas, you could spend hundreds of dollars on designs. You know, if each design is $4 or so, you really could spend quite a bit. And so to make that a little bit easier for you, I'm going to show you a trick around that. So we are in Silhouette Studio. I will be working on the 3 platforms today that I have experience with. Obviously, Affinity is the most in my wheelhouse. That is what I use the most, but I came from Silhouette, and that is what I used to design in for a couple years before I switched over to Photoshop. Used Photoshop and Illustrator for quite a while, and then started using Affinity mainly on my iPad, and I loved it. So I bought the desktop version of it and haven't looked back since. I love Affinity. So I do have Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo. I would suggest both of them. It is a one-time fee, and I like them both for different things. If you're familiar with Photoshop, Affinity Photo is almost identical to Photoshop. Affinity Designer is almost identical to Adobe Illustrator. So they're very, very similar. So let's go ahead and jump in here. You guys, please shout out any questions that you have, and can you please hurry and give me a thumbs up or a comment if you can hear me okay? I would appreciate it. And I'm just going to wait here for just a minute till I make sure I get that confirmation that you guys can hear okay. Okay, perfect. Hey, Angie, thanks for joining. So I have opened the sign that I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and show you. And like I said, Silhouette is the only one that will not have a Silhouette file with it. And that is because Silhouette works a little bit differently than some of the other ones. And I'm not as well versed as I used to be in Silhouette. So I will teach you how to do it here, but like I said, you will have Affinity and Photoshop files that will open up that will look very similar. These layers will, all of these layers will still be grouped together, but they will be layered on top of each other for you to make it a little bit easier for you. So we're going to go ahead and open. I do want you to be able to reference the finished sign. So we'll just blow this up so you guys can see what I'm working on. And these are fun. You can do 2 graduation pictures. You can do, like this particular person wanted to do one of when she was little and one now as she's getting ready to graduate. So that's your option there. It does come in the solid black option, but we are going to do a little bit different. We're going to actually change it up a bit because I wanted something different. So we're going to open all of our layers. So our grad here, like I said, you could just pick on just if you wanted it all black, then that's there for you. But if you wanted to change it up a little bit, which I always like to do, we're going to go ahead and just copy this and move it over to our sign. This is the reason that I didn't do anything with the sizing on this, is because I did not want, if you leave all of the layers the exact same size, just open them all up, then you can move over and they will fit exactly how they're supposed to fit on the sign. So now we're going to go to our black layer. I'm going to change this to a gold and a green for the schools that I am working with. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to this darker green. I cannot stand the red outline, so we're also going to change that. But now I'm going to go, if you saw this, there's this advanced drop down box that you can go to, so I can kind of get the color close to what I want, but I want it even deeper green than that. So I'm going to use that drop down box, and then I am going to go ahead and change that to the type of green I want, which is kind of that kind of hunter green. Then I'm going to go over to my toolbar on the side here, and I'm also going to change the outline or the stroke of that. It will bring up the green that I just used, and so I do that, and you can see it takes away that ugly red that drives me absolutely crazy. So then I'm going to go to the middle part. I want to make this kind of a gold. So I may be able just to leave it like that. That may be close enough. Maybe that one's better. So then I don't have to go down to my advanced options, but you always can go down to your advanced options, and that will bring you this full drop down. Then you're kind of in the area that you want to be in, but it gives you the ability to change it up a little bit. But I kind of like that color, so I'm going to leave it there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go, and this is the last color I use, is going to be this top left-hand corner, and I'm going to change that. So there's my sign. Then I can group it all together just by right-clicking. And now I can, if you're going to print from here, you can go and change your paper size so that it reflects what you want your sign size to be. So these signs come in all different sizes. I've seen 18 inches by 24 inches. I've seen 12 inches by 18 inches. There's a plethora of sizes that you can order online. So you can downsize or upsize this to whatever is going to work for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it. The most important thing here, I'm not going to be cutting, so I don't need a cutting mat. I don't need a machine. And my media size, I do want to change to custom. That allows me to change it to whatever I want. So I'm going to have the width be 24. I really, really prefer my my size to be 18 by 24. And then once we get it a little bit smaller, you can hit control and the plus sign, and then move it in so that you can see it a little bit better. So then I'm just going to center that, and I'm going to put this wherever I want it to be. And that looks really good. So then you are ready for cutting. Hi, Shalada. So when you cut, the biggest thing to remember, just like with anything else when we're using words, anything that needs to be mirrored, just make sure you mirror it. So that's how it's done in Photoshop, in Silhouette Studio. It's really easy, really straightforward, and that allows you to change it. So you guys can go in and ungroup it and change it to whatever color you want. So it reflects your surrounding schools, and that is really cool, so that you don't have to buy 100 different files for all the different color schools that are in your area. So I'm going to go ahead. Do you guys have any questions? Do you guys have any questions regarding Silhouette Studio? If not, then I'm going to go ahead and move on to Photoshop. So if you have them, go ahead and shout them out, and we can go over. Close. Clearly, I have been doing some work in Photoshop. Okay, so what I absolutely love about Affinity, and it doesn't go both ways, unfortunately. What I love about Affinity is it will let you save your file to a Photoshop style. So when you get any of these files that are interchangeable like this, you will get a Photoshop file. So let's say we're going to go ahead and work with this one. So here's my, so if you look, this is my Affinity file. That's actually my Photoshop, but it brings it over like it's an Affinity because I use Affinity so much. So if you open that, that's what it will look like in your Photoshop. You can see that you have all these layers that are layered for you so that you don't have to adjust anything. That would be ideal, right? But let's go ahead and walk you through what you would do if you don't have Photoshop, or again, you have to switch it out. Let's go ahead and look at what that looks like. So as you can see here, if we wanted to change, this is all layered for you, but let's say instead of purple and black, let's say I do gray, and we have a school here that's like light blue. So if I want to change that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to this function or effect button on your right-hand side, and you're going to do a color overlay. It's going to either change it to the last color that you used, or if you're opening up and this is the first time you're doing it since you reopened Photoshop, then it will change it to black. That is the default for this, as well as Affinity. So let's say we're going to do it's green. It's kind of a funky. So let's say I was going to do this for, let's say I was really truly doing this to print for school. What I would do is I would Google that school, pull over a logo or something so that you can get accurate, um, colors. And what you can do by that is, let's say, let me hurry and just open one just so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's say I wanted it this color. So I'm going to bring this over. And so you could open any picture that had the class colors in it. And but you want to make sure you get those colors right. So that's why I would suggest bringing over a logo. Don't copy that logo, and I certainly wouldn't use the logo unless you have permissions and the trademark and copyright signed from the school in order to allow you to use that. But I would use it to get your colors correct. So again, I'm going to go to this effect button here in your tool panel. I'm going to do color overlay. And again, it's going to default because I didn't save it from my last time. So you can see you can go anywhere in here and up this bar to pick whatever color you want. Or I can just go over and pick that. Let's say that's the color we want. So we're going to go ahead and keep that. Now let's say we want to change. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the one that we used for that. Let's say we want to change our background color a little bit. So this is your back border here. So let's say we want to change that. It's going to be the exact same thing. We're going to go to color overlay, and it's going to default to the very last color we had it. So you could, you know, if you wanted it to make it a little bit more just two-toned instead of having a lot of different colors, you could do that. It will default to whatever you put it as. Let's do a blue with this. So then you can change that. Not everybody, so there are, of course, you could do pictures, but not everybody wants pictures of their child, or for me, that would be mortifying to me to have a picture of myself out in my front yard. So there are both kinds of signs listed, so that's an option that they have. If they want pictures, great, that's available to them. But if they're like me and they hate the idea of a picture, then they don't have to do that. So then this is my, I'm going to leave my white layer here, but you could also change that. So just to show you what I mean by that, let me hurry and go down, and we're going to change that color. And these colors are going to look a little bit outlandish, but I want you to see what it will look like. So you can change, any of these are changeable. So that you can make them and customize them to whatever your customers are wanting. So we're going to do the same thing with this here. We're going to make that the gold, and then we're going to make the back I'm going to bring this open. We're going to make the back into this blue. And then you've got your sign ready to print. And again, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to mirror that sign. So what I would do at this point is I would merge my layers so that you've got your sign all put together. Then you can come over here, edit, transform, and flip horizontal. Well, it would help if I had the right layer, however. And then you're ready to print. I do have, please look on my YouTube channel. I will also post them in the group, but I do have videos up on how to split large designs in Silhouette, Photoshop, and Affinity, and then to put them back together after you're finished printing them. So make sure you look at that. I won't delve any more into that on this tutorial, just because I want to make sure that we have time to hit Affinity as well. Do you guys have any questions regarding Photoshop and changing the colors in Photoshop? I did want to show you real quick, just so you can see. So let's say that you don't have Photoshop. I'm not sure what other programs you would be using, but let's say you don't have that. So let's say you just have to open this on your own. What I would do is the same thing that we did when we were over in Silhouette, and that would be, I would bring all of my open them all up, open all of your layers up, and then bring them over in the size that they are saved in, the PNG that they come in. Then once you get all of your layers there, you can size it to whatever size that you want. But if you bring them over like this in the size that they are created in, then they will lay the way that they are supposed to lay. So for instance, let's bring this guy over here. And we're going to move this all the way to the back because that's our back layer. And so you can see that there's your layering effect already for you. So then you can change the colors just like we did previously. So that's if you have a different program other than Affinity or Photoshop. Or if you get some other designs from another designer, this also gives you the option to look at those and change those as well. So now we're going to bring this, and this is just a matter of, you can do a couple ways. You can either move this manually, or you can do Control and the right bracket, and that will bring that layer to the front. And then you can change it to whatever color that you want. Let's do this to change this one back to black. Thank you, Shalata. I appreciate that. And then we'll just do this one front and move it over here. And now I've got my entire sign over, and it is black, so I'm going to change it. And we'll change it to white. And then this one, sorry guys, I know it's just for learning purposes, but it's bugging me because this color is so ugly with these other colors. It's beautiful by itself, but it does not go here at all. So we're going to go ahead and just change that to white. So my alma mater colors. So then your sign is ready to go. Now, then I would do the same thing that we did in the other one. I would go ahead and merge my layers. You could do before you merge, so let's go ahead and I'm just going to back it up a little bit. Before you merge, what you can do is link them and then copy those layers. Let's do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a group from layers. This is going to be the original, so this allows you to have your sign all grouped together so that if you want to change, you have the ability to do that. So let's say we're going to go ahead and we're going to duplicate this group. You're going to leave this initial group. You're just going to go ahead and shut it off, turn the eye off so you can't see it. And then this one, you're going to merge the group. So then you have this pop sign ready to go. You can resize it to whatever size you want, but you still have this original copy down here that you can, it's still layered on top of each other. The layers are separated so you can continue to change them to whatever you would like. So there is Photoshop. Now you're ready to print, and that should give you a good start on that. I don't see any questions in the chat, so I'm just going to go ahead and open up Affinity Designer. And we'll walk through this in that as well. So Affinity Designer, the same thing. If you purchase this file, it will come in so if you purchase Affinity Designer, what it will do is it will actually come with an Affinity file. So whether it says Affinity Photo or Affinity Designer, you can open them interchangeably. So if it just because it says Affinity Photo, I don't want you to get panicked. You can still open it in Affinity Designer, which makes it really nice. So then you can see all of your layers are here. Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo are very, very similar to Photoshop. So we're going to do the same thing. If you look over here, here is your toolbar. You should be able to see your layer panel. If you're not seeing your layer panel, what you would need to do is you would go into View, you would go into Studio, and then you can pick whatever you want to look at. But layers is definitely one of your must-haves on there. And we can get into that in at another time, but just so you know, that's how you find your layers. Then at the bottom of your layer panel over here on your right hand side, you will see the same thing, the layer effect button. So if you click that layer effect, we are on this senior that is black, and I kind of like it black, so I'm going to just leave that one be, but I am going to change this. So I'm going to go to my my effect button right here at the bottom of my layer panel. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to put color overlay. Like I said, the default for Affinity is black. It will not default to the last color you pick like it does in Photoshop. It will just default to black every time you hit color overlay. Then you can go and change it to whatever you want. I think I want a nice red on this one, a reddish orange. So we're going to go ahead and that's going to be my color for my congratulations and my banner down here at the bottom. Then the background you can see, I'm going to pull this out so that you can see. So it's going to allow you to change the tassel color as well as the year color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this, and we're going to do this. Now, again, I want to make sure that my layers are where they need to be, and obviously this needs to go into the back, so I'm going to do the same thing. Control, I can either move it manually just underneath this one so that that black part on the tassel is where it needs to be in front, or I can click on the layer and do Control left bracket, and that will move it down as well. And I'm not loving the color here, so we're going to change this to blue. Now to add your text, so right here is where I would want to add my senior's name. So we'll put column there and upsize it to wherever you want it to be. And then we're going to also put this. So I'm going to take my dropper tool. If you see, this is your text bar. So this allows you to change the text style, the font. Then it also will allow you to change your text color. And I'm going to do that because I want it to coordinate. So something that's a little bit different, it doesn't automatically change it like it does in Photoshop. You have to actually use your little dropper tool, and then right next to it is the yellow for the color that I want. Now I do want this to come up a little bit, so I'm going to use my right bracket, control right bracket, and I'm going to bring that to the front, and I don't like that font at all. So I'm going to change it, and there's my sign ready to go. One thing I do like about Affinity as well is, so this is my sign ready to go. So I don't want to have to mess with it anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my right, and I can click on any, it doesn't matter what layer I click on. I'm going to click, and I'm going to put I'm going to click this here. I'm going to group them together, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing. So in photo, it does allow you to do something that it does not in Designer. In photo, you can actually click on one of the layers, and then it will give you the option to merge visible. It creates its own layer of everything on the top, everything that's visible. So it will create an whole layer of your sign ready to go. Designer does not offer that, but it's no problem. You're just going to group it all together. Again, you've got your bottom that you're just going to uncheck so that you don't see it. Then you've got all of your groups, all of your layers separated so that you can go back in and continue to adjust fonts or names or customize it to your specific school colors and the child's name or the graduate's name. So with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put rasterize. You need to rasterize the whole group, because if not, it will just take the layer and just rasterize one layer. So you need to rasterize the whole group, and then you've got your sign all ready to go. So that is how you do it in Affinity Designer. Honestly, Angie, once you get used to moving around in it, it really is easy. It's easy to do. So don't let that be a deterrent. Once you get playing around with it, get comfortable with where the options are in there, it's not hard. It's really not. Thank you for joining, Shalata. Have a great day for the rest of your work day. And let's see, so there is one other file that I wanted to show you guys that we touched on while we were in our Zoom last week. And so I am going to open that up for you. Again, these will come all, you will have a Photoshop or you will have an Affinity file. So this will all be layered for you. And if you open it up, there's your options. So you'll have your boy graduate, you'll have your girl graduate. Let me hurry and unclick the boy. Then you have your girl with short hair, your girl with long wavy hair, and your girl with long straight hair. Hold on, let me find her. So it is the exact same thing. You're going to be able to change all of your layers so that you can customize them to your school colors, and that really is helpful so that you don't have to buy a lot of files. So I will get these listed on the website today. They will only be on my Shopify store just because of Etsy's crazy download amounts and limits on their number of files. So this will only be on my Shopify. I will put the link in. I will also put the link in so you guys can watch the video back. I really appreciate you joining, and we'll catch you next time. Oh, thank you, Karen. I will get it put out and so that it's available to you guys. I appreciate it. Do you guys have any questions before we end this tutorial? All right, I'll give you another couple minutes. But yes, you have all these options that will come in. Thanks, Shelly. I appreciate it. I will get these listed, and I will see you guys tomorrow for Tutorial Tuesday. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon.